In today's lecture, God versus Good, Who or What Will Prevail, we are set to explore one of the most profound and debated themes in Platonic philosophy, the relationship between divinity and moral authority. Is it God who reigns supreme, or does the good transcend even the divine? Plato's dialogues, especially the Republic, Euthyphro, and Phaedrus, invite us to ponder these questions deeply. Our inquiry touches upon the very core of philosophical thought, and as we examine this, I strongly urge you to revisit these foundational texts. The dialogues are essential for this lecture to understand the nuanced discussion between God and the good. By reading Plato's Republic, notably Book 6, Euthyphro, and Timaeus, along with insights from Laws, you'll see how Plato carefully distinguishes between moral authority and divine will. These works form the backbone of today's discussion, and engaging with them will enhance your ability to follow and contribute to exploring these eternal questions. As we dig deeper, we'll draw connections to modern interpretations of moral philosophy and explore how Plato's ideas about the good offer a framework beyond religious authority. With this in mind, take the time to immerse yourself in these texts, allowing them to inform your understanding of the dialogue between divinity and ethics. And for those of you engaging with this material more intensively, the tools available through the advanced tiers of our Planxet membership will be indispensable. They'll support your deeper inquiries into these topics, just as Plato encouraged deeper philosophical reflection. Let's begin our journey through this intricate relationship between God and the good, and see how these timeless ideas shape our understanding of morality and the universe. Lecture 10. God versus Good, Who or What Will Prevail? In today's lecture, we will delve into one of the most intriguing and complex questions in Platonic philosophy, the relationship between God and the good. At the heart of Plato's thought lies the question of what ultimate authority governs the moral order of the universe. Is it God or the good? Is the good synonymous with God, or do they exist as separate entities? And ultimately, who or what will prevail in determining the course of our lives and actions? Plato's philosophy, particularly in dialogues like the Republic, Euthyphro, and Phaedrus, confronts the nature of the good, placing it at the center of moral and philosophical inquiry. Meanwhile, the relationship between divinity, the gods, and the moral order is another critical aspect of his dialogues, especially in works like Timaeus and Laws. Today, we'll explore these relationships and consider the implications of each in guiding human action and thought. Plato's good, the pinnacle of the ideal. Plato's conception of the good is, in many ways, the bedrock of his metaphysical and ethical thought. In the Republic, particularly in Book 6, 507b, 509b, the good is compared to the sun, which illuminates and allows us to see and understand the forms. The good is the highest form, the ultimate reality that transcends all others. It is through the good that we comprehend truth, beauty, and justice, and it is this form that gives meaning to our moral existence. Plato, Republic, 508d. Yet, what exactly is the good? Plato leaves much of this open to interpretation. He never provides a fully fleshed out definition of the good, instead describing it in allegorical terms, such as in the famous simile of the sun. The good is, in a sense, ineffable. It is something we can grasp through reason, but never fully explain in words. This notion of an ineffable good is critical, because it suggests that the good operates on a level beyond ordinary human understanding. It is a metaphysical reality that shapes all things, both in the world of forms and in the empirical world. Crucially, the good is not simply one of many forms. It is the form that gives structure to all other forms. It is above justice, beauty, and knowledge. Without the good, these concepts would not exist in any coherent form. Plato implies that we can only live morally and meaningfully by aligning our lives with the good, making it the ultimate guide for human behavior. This understanding, however, begs the question, if the good is the highest principle, where does God fit into Plato's vision? Divinity in Plato's philosophy, the role of the gods. Plato's conception of divinity is multifaceted and complex. In dialogues like Euthyphro, Timaeus, and Laws, we see various perspectives on the nature of the gods and their relationship to morality. In Euthyphro, Plato explores the question of piety and its connection to the gods. The dialogue centers on the question, is something pious because the gods love it, or do the gods love it because it is pious? Plato, Euthyphro, 10a. This question is critical to our discussion today because it probes the relationship between divine command and moral authority. If the gods love something because it is good, then morality exists independently of the divine. If, on the other hand, something is good because the gods love it, then the divine becomes the ultimate source of morality. In this dialogue, Plato seems to lean toward the view that the gods recognize the good, but they do not determine it. The good exists independently of the divine, and the gods, like humans, are bound by it. This interpretation suggests that the good, not God, is the ultimate authority in Plato's moral universe. The gods, while divine and powerful, are not the creators of the good. They are, like humans, seekers of it. Thus, in this context, the good prevails over the gods in terms of moral authority. In Timaeus, however, we see another side of Plato's view of divinity. Here, the demiurge, or divine craftsman, plays a central role in ordering the cosmos according to the good. The demiurge is not a creator ex nihilo, as in later monotheistic traditions, but rather an organizer, shaping the chaotic matter of the universe into an ordered, rational structure. Plato, Timaeus, 29-30c. The demiurge looks to the good as a blueprint, ensuring that the cosmos reflects its perfection. This conception of divinity aligns more closely with the notion that the good is above even the gods, as it is the guiding principle according to which the gods themselves act. In laws, we see a more pragmatic view of divinity, where the gods are invoked to ensure moral and legal order within the city. The gods, in this context, are protectors of the law, but they do not define what is good or just. Instead, they serve as intermediaries between the good and human society, ensuring that laws reflect the higher moral principles established by the good. Plato, Laws, 716ab. The good as a secular force. Plato's elevation of the good over the gods leads to an important philosophical question. Can morality exist independently of religion or divine authority? For Plato, the answer seems to be yes. The good is not dependent on the will of the gods. Rather, it is a universal principle that transcends both human and divine will. This is a radical idea, particularly when contrasted with other ancient philosophical and religious traditions, where the gods are often seen as the ultimate arbiters of right and wrong. In Republic, Book 7, Plato presents the allegory of the cave, where prisoners are trapped in ignorance, mistaking shadows for reality. The philosopher, through reason and intellectual effort, escapes the cave and comes to see the light of the sun, which represents the good. Plato, Republic, 514a, 517a. The philosopher's task, then, is not to seek the will of the gods, but to understand the nature of the good and to guide others toward it. This allegory suggests that the good is not only the highest principle, but also something that can be understood through reason and reflection. It is not accessible only to the gods, but is available to anyone willing to engage in philosophical inquiry. This secular interpretation of the good has profound implications for ethics. It suggests that moral truths are not dependent on divine revelation, but can be discovered through rational thought. This perspective is foundational for many later philosophical traditions, particularly in the Enlightenment, where reason and secular ethics took precedence over religious authority. The relationship between the good and God. Given these considerations, how should we understand the relationship between the good and God in Plato's philosophy? Are they one and the same, or are they distinct entities with different roles in the moral order? One interpretation is that the good and God are closely related, but distinct. The good represents the ultimate moral principle, while God, or the gods, are beings who seek to align themselves with the good. In this view, the gods are not omnipotent creators, but rather powerful beings who, like humans, strive to understand and embody the good. The gods, then, are not the source of moral truth, but are bound by it, just as we are. Another interpretation is that the good is, in a sense, divine. In Republic, Plato suggests that the good is the cause of everything that is right and beautiful, and that it is the source of all knowledge and truth. Plato, Republic, 508e, 509a. This description of the good as the ultimate cause of all things aligns with later monotheistic conceptions of God as the source of all that is good and true. In this sense, the good can be understood as a kind of impersonal divinity, a principle that governs the universe but is not itself a personal being. However, Plato never equates the good with a personal God. Instead, he maintains a distinction between the metaphysical principle of the good and the personal gods of traditional Greek religion. This distinction allows Plato to avoid the theological implications of equating the good with a personal deity. By keeping the good separate from the gods, Plato preserves the idea that moral truths are independent of divine will and can be discovered through human reason. Implications for modern thought. Plato's distinction between the good and God has profound implications for modern philosophical and theological thought. His conception of the good as an independent moral principle challenges the idea that morality must be grounded in religion or divine command. This view has influenced a wide range of philosophical traditions, from secular humanism to deontological ethics. At the same time, Plato's elevation of the good raises questions about the nature of moral authority. If the good is an abstract principle rather than a personal God, how can it command our loyalty and devotion? What motivates us to follow the good, and how can we know that we are doing so? These questions remain central to contemporary ethical debates, particularly in discussions about the nature of moral truth and the role of religion in public life. Plato's answer, it seems, lies in the power of reason. For Plato, the good is not something that we follow blindly, but something that we can understand through rational inquiry. By engaging in philosophical reflection, we can come to know the good and align our lives with it. This process of intellectual and moral discovery is, for Plato, the highest form of human activity. Conclusion: who or what will prevail? In conclusion, the question of whether God or the good will prevail in Plato's philosophy is not easily answered. Plato's work suggests that the good, as a metaphysical principle, holds the highest position in the hierarchy of reality and moral authority. While the gods are divine and powerful, they too are bound by the good. The good represents an eternal, universal truth that transcends both human and divine realms. This understanding places the good above even the gods in terms of moral authority. However, this does not necessarily diminish the role of divinity in Plato's thought. The gods, particularly in works like Timaeus, are still deeply involved in the moral and cosmic order. They help to guide human behavior and maintain the structure of the universe. Yet they do so in accordance with the good, not in opposition to it. Ultimately, Plato's philosophy suggests that it is not a matter of God versus the good, but rather that both work in harmony with the good as the ultimate guiding principle. The good, as an abstract and ineffable form, prevails because it is the source of all truth, beauty, and justice. It is the highest reality to which both gods and humans must aspire. Thus, in our quest for understanding the moral order, we must turn not solely to divine command, but to the rational pursuit of the good. It is through this pursuit that we can hope to live virtuous, meaningful lives in alignment with the ultimate truth that governs all of existence.